18 a.m. and August 17, 2021. Though with that, we're moving forward on the proposed agenda. We do have an invocation, and I'll ask Nah. Delegate Jimmy, you're here if you would provide an invocation this morning.
Okay, okay. Tele. Ame asin son de tare to so yes tra zono de. Ko zono se tra ason ko do yel ni tra do ko nda che ha che won do. Yo ke stan mo san kle zono de. En de kon de thought has seemed to be sub to zono de. En de kon yo dan te fa e da no. Traditionelt anite anawebike hajonole koroye konsen hitati nanal soti pini kola August 17 2021 goyos kala koroye krishin keta toton nan sigi ICP kati tra nan si dolon kati listo de nepa so e konde e pakayel tidi waj peso penat on she on it peso no it bounds out that the nepa peso Washington he did need the nepa Washington the peso in general he out that he did ado he did not he can never create on the general budget is it been here the budget ala singa on chinda yat was trying to kita just little competition as to ni year past he had not ab anita past had also yo in clown hall area and cartilage had the question yo he said how to conda that was on the no ni jamako what area ton under but that he gets and that the economy country hard she hundi lisa shonda stra bin kati lo ko ya budget is hun sabahat by yadil tini kati lo national vidai jenon kati liston the corner tinito na tinito yat esto jenigo genta to this ko this high this calm winter we're going to have enough vegetation for our livestock stra agent dans les évolutions alors agent dans les agent dans les côtés concerne yes dans les agent dans les agent amen.
Yeah, la, hey, Johnny, Delegate Jimmy Yellow Hair, Colonel Pasadena, City by Kahila. Thank you. Governor Chaya, now, Tani, and Hotel, Hazy. They are recognizing guests of this social Budget and Finance Committee. A coin, I see for us. Good morning, of course. The saying, now calling meeting, the other two members. So, Ibn Nacha, we have our legislative branch staff, Ms. Tina Kai and Ramona Nelson. Our Office of Legislative Counsel, Ms. Tampahi, are you on the line?
Yes, Mr. Chair, this is Laraline Tapahi with Legislative Council. Good morning to everyone. Going back on mute now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us this morning. The other part of our judicial, our legal arm is the Office of the Navajo Nation Department of Justice.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. This is Mel Rodas.
Good morning, Mel. Thank you for being on the call with us this morning. I'm done with that. Do you have Office of the Navajo Nation President and Vice President on the line?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. This is Leonard Sosi with OPVP.
Good morning, and thank you for being on the line with us. The Office of the Navajo Nation Council Speaker, Seth Damon, Legislative Branch staff. Navajo Nation Legislative Branch.
Good morning, Chairman. This is Manuel Rico, Director with Legislative Services. I'm on the line.
Good morning, Manuel. The Navajo Nation Judicial Branch. Navajo Nation Judicial Branch. Okay, moving down the line, we do have Office of Navajo Nation Tax Commission, Mr. Marty Ashley.
Mr. Chair, this is Stephen Edsity from Navajo Nation Judicial Branch. I'm on the line.
Good morning, Mr. Edsity.
Mr. Chair, Marty Ashley is on the line.
Good evening, Mr. Ashley. Thank you for being on the call this morning. Moving down, Division of General Services.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Loretta Largo on the line. Thank you.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, Chair. This is Pearl Lee, Program Manager with Navajo Nation Telecommunication Utilities.
Good morning, Ms. Lee.
Good morning. This is Marcus Tooley with Facility Maintenance.
Good morning, Mr. Marcus Tooley.
Good morning. This is Lisa Jim with OMB.
Good morning, Lisa Jim, OMB, and thank you for being on this call this morning. Do we have Office of the Controller? Now, hold on. Office of Management and Budget, we heard from Lisa Jim. Is there anything else for the Office of Management and Budget on the line?
Mr. Chair, this is Dominic Bial.
Good morning, Mr. Bial. Do we have the Office of Navajo Nation Controller on the line? Office of Navajo Nation Controller. Moving forward, are there any programs other than the ones that I've called on the line this morning? Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Budget and Finance Committee. This is Andrea Holmes with the Department of Retirement Services. Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Holmes.
Good morning, everyone. This is Frank Burnside Jr. with Social Services and also a NYCHAS stakeholder.
Good morning, Ms. Sir, for being on line from Social Services. Okay, with that, let's move forward and review the top of the agenda, the proposed agenda that we have before us. Peggy, if you would read the agenda into the record for us.
Good morning, members of the Budget and Finance Committee. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good morning, everybody. This is the proposed agenda, excuse me, of the Budget and Finance Committee of the Navajo Nation Council, continuation of the Oversight Budget hearing Tuesday, August 17, 2021. It's via teleconference. Presiding as Jamie Henio, Chairperson, Raymond Smith Jr., Vice Chairperson. Place is via teleconference, Window Rock, Navajo Nation, Arizona. 1, call the budget hearing to order. The roll call, the invocation. 2, recognize guests and visiting officials. 3, review and adopt the agenda. 4, old business. A, legislation number 0145-21, an action relating to the Budget and Finance Committee approving and recommending to the Budget and Finance Committee the proposed fiscal year 2022 budget for the Office of the Navajo Tax Commission, sponsored by Jamie Hinio and Elmer P. Begay, council delegates. 5 is new business, legislation number 0162-21, an action relating to the Budget and Finance Committee approving and recommending to the Budget and Finance Committee the proposed fiscal year 2022 budgets for fixed costs for the Division of General Services, Radio Communications and Facilities Maintenance for the Navajo Nation Integrated Justice Information Sharing Project and for the Office of the Controller, FMIS Maintenance, sponsored by Jamie Hinio and Seth A. Damon, council delegate. 6, adjournment. Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that reading. Budget and Finance Committee members, is there a motion to accept the agenda as read? Committee members, Budget and Finance Committee, their motion to accept the agenda as read. Somebody's clicking away on their typewriter back there somewhere.
Chair Henny, motion.
Okay, motion by Vice Chair Raymond Smith. Is there a second?
Second, Delegate Cardi.
Second by Delegate Anakin Asbakari. So we do have a motion and a second on the proposed agenda. Remember, the floor is open for any discussion regarding the agenda. I'll call for the question to approve the agenda as read. Announcement, if you would lead us now. Vote.
Sure, Chairman, roll call vote for approving the agenda. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr., how do you vote?
Green.
Thank you. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. votes green. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair, how do you vote? Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair, how do you vote?
I'll vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair votes green. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Bott-Carty, how do you vote?
Apologize. This is Delegate Amber Kenneth-Bott-Carty, and I vote green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Bott-Carty votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote? Honorable Nathaniel Brown. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote? Honorable Elmer P. Begay. Chairman, we have 3 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing, chairman not voting, and 2 members not voting. Chairman?
Thank you for that roll call vote. Now, we do have an agenda before us with a vote of 3 in favor, 0 opposed, chair not voting. With this, thank you for the votes, and we'll move forward to item number 4, old business. With this, we do have one legislation by sponsoring. So, Vice Chair Smith, if you would, handling the virtual gavel over to you.
Negotiation and thank you. Good morning, everybody that's on board with us this morning on the continuation of oversight budget hearing. Today's old business is legislation number 0145-21, which was tabled. Recall for a motion to recall this back to the budget oversight hearing. Motion by Honorable Chair Henio. Second?
Delegate Yellowhair. Second.
Second by Honorable Yellowhair. Any questions regarding the recall?
Vice Chair, this is Delegate Crotty with the question.
Honorable Crotty, you have the floor.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I appreciate that. I'm trying to pull up the agenda. I don't know what I did with it. Vice Chair, can you let me know what legislation we're going to recall? I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, it's on old business, number 0145-21, Navajo Tax Commission.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I appreciate that. I will pull up the agenda. I apologize, colleagues. Thank you.
Hagoshi, committee members, any other questions before we go into the vote to recall? Shanella, could you do round of one, roll call vote?
Sure, Vice Chairman, roll call vote for motion to recall. Honorable Jeremy Henry, how did you vote? Thank you. Honorable Jamie Henry votes green. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair, how do you vote?
I vote green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair votes green. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Bott-Crotty, how do you vote?
Shadow Delegate Amber Kenneth-Bott-Crotty, and I vote green. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Amber Kenneth-Bott-Crotty votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote? Honorable Nathaniel Brown. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote? Honorable Elmer P. Begay. Vice Chairman, we have 3 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing. Vice Chair not voting, and 2 members not voting. Vice Chairman?
Hagoshi, thank you, Shanella. Moving forward, give the floor to Peggy to give us an update on the legislation for 145-21, where we're at with this, so that we may proceed. Peggy, you have the floor.
Thank you, Cecilia. Vice Chair Smith. Let's see, legislation number 0145-21 was on the agendas for the oversight hearings August 6th, and it was tabled on August 6th because of the question about their detailed budget forms regarding the general wage adjustment and how it was incorporated into the budget. And then it remained tabled on August 11th. Or actually it was tabled on, on August 9th. And so it remained tabled August 11th. And so today it is taken from the table. So there's a main motion by Delegate Crotty, seconded by Delegate Yellowhair. And it says that the budget forms do not reflect the GWA in personnel expense line item 2000 object code. And so it was tabled. And so we just pick up with the budget forms, the revised budget forms, and the program will lead us from there, Mr. Chair. Vice Chair.
Hagoshi Shada, thank you for that update. We do have a recall motion, and it was passed by 3-0. Therefore, we're in old business now on legislation number 0145-21. We'll turn the floor over to the sponsor of this legislation. Chair Henyo, you have the floor with your agents.
Good morning, International Vice Chairman of the Budget and Finance Committee. We're here on revisiting the Office of the Tax Commission with this legislation, and there was issues that arose that needed some corrections with the Office of the Navajo Nation Tax Commission regarding the general wage and budget. So therefore, with this, Mr. Marty Ashley, the Executive Director for the Navajo Nation Tax Office, is available on the line to provide an explanation. I believe he did send us the budget here this morning with, as Peggy sent it off this morning at 8:25 a.m. revised FY22 budget for B business unit. One is 106001, 106001. This, Mr. Ashley, if you would assist me in providing information to the Budget and Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Chair Henio, for sponsoring this legislation, and Vice Chair Smith. Thank you for recalling this legislation. And there's been several changes. There's been several changes that was made. We made an initial change back on the initial tabling, and we incorporated the detail how we're utilizing that general wage adjustment that was allocated to us, the 39,000 plus. So that's in the budget. And there was a budget that we prepared and that was ready and that was sent to BNF for revisit. But at the last meeting, this is where I may need some clarification. At the last meeting, it was recommended that our office space rental be picked up within the fixed costs budgeting. So as a result of the last Budget and Finance Committee meeting, we redid our budget again. And so in that one that we redid, we took out the office space rental. So that should be the budget that is currently before you. So it did take out that amount, the 87,000 that was originally budgeted for office space rental. Again, where the Office of the Navajo Tax Commission is located within the Kerrigan Professional Building, and we have an annual office space rental of $87,811. And on an annual basis, that takes up a majority of our operating budget. We get like about maybe 140, 150,000 in operating monies, depending on the general wage adjustments, how much we have to absorb there. So what we end up doing is that we reduce our operating budget by whatever is increased in the by the general wage adjustment. But we are fortunate enough this budget cycle for fiscal year 2020 that Budget and Finance Committee has recommended that all the Navajo Nation General Fund programs receive monies from the personnel lapse and to cover the general wage adjustment and the step increases that are normally absorbed within that upcoming fiscal year. So we were able to get the 39,000. So in the budget that's being presented now, and pursuant to the tabling motion to put in the detail, we do have that in there. We were shown where the general wage adjustment is being utilized. It's being utilized under the 2220 salary adjustment, 25,893. And then the difference we put into step increase of $1,938. And those two added together, plus the fringe benefit portion down below of the 11,245, and then the fringe benefit for the step increase of 842. That totals to the amount that we were allocated for the general wage adjustment. And in this budget, we, pursuant to the last budget and finance budget hearing discussion, where it was recommended that our office space rental be picked up within fixed costs. As a result of that meeting, we deleted the rental, the lease rental on page 2 of 3 of the budget forms. The only thing that's under lease rental is our Xerox, the Xerox lease that we have, the rental of that. So the office space rental was previously included in there, in that object code. And so that's been taken out with the understanding that it would be included in the next legislation for the fixed costs. So that would be my explanation, Mr. Chair and members of the Budget and Finance Committee.
Back to Chair Henio. Is that the gist of your presentation for now?
Senator, Vice Chancellor, yes. That concludes our presentation. Now we stand for questions.
Goshe, thank you, Chair Henio. Back to committee members of the Budget and Finance. Any questions regarding Tax Commission? I don't hear no questions, so
Pro Tem, this is Delegate Crotty. I would like to ask a question.
Honorable Crotty, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, thank you, Pro Tem. Thank you, committee members. I want to thank Delegate Yellowser for the prayer. She has sponsored Chairman Henio. Thank you for working with the Tax Commission to improve the budget forms. I think it's appropriate that the Navajo Nation, especially the oversight, we know where the general wage funding is being reallocated, and so it looks it's good that the staff will have a budget based on their evaluations. They'll have an opportunity for an increase. I think this is a great way to demonstrate how we could use the GWA not only to enhance the salaries of our Navajo Nation people and attract more of our professionals to come back home. It's very expensive to live here on the Navajo Nation in terms of travel, in terms of cost of living. So I just want to appreciate that attempt to raise their salaries. The other issue, just in terms of like OMB, if these budget forms are in order, if I could just get some concurrence, and I don't have any specific questions regarding how the budget is allocated. I just want to make sure that it's in order so that we can move forward and vote on this legislation. Thank you, Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Honorable Crotty. Okay, members, any other concerns, questions, comments regarding the Tax Commission? Recall on 0145-21. I'll share back to Chair Henio.
Here, just to have the committee is okay with the presentation that was offered by Mr. Ashley regarding fixed cost budget. We're ready to get out of his regular program budget and create a separate budget. And therefore, we need to have Navajo, our Office of Legislative Council, start preparing an amendment for the next legislation, because I don't think this fixed cost is in the next legislation. So we would have to amend the next legislation to include this amendment. So we would have to amend the next legislation that's on the new business in order to put this as part of that. So if the Tapahi can work with us with the AI to get this ready, that way we would have to wait. We can just move through it. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, this is Lorraine Tapahi. Was I asked a question? Do I need to respond?
Legislative Council, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you. This particular legislation the committee is considering right now, 0145-21, does not. The next one coming up, 0162-21, it does say fixed costs on the next one. Let's see. And I think that's in order. This is just the recalled legislation. 014521 is recalled from last week. So I think we're in order right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Legislative Council. Back to Chair Henio. Is there any further concerns regarding 145 that was brought up?
My initial request was to have an amendment, to have the Legislative Council start preparing an amendment. Therefore, we don't have to wait for when we get to the next legislation, because I don't think Navajo Nation Tax Commission fixed costs is in there. I didn't see it on the heading, but it would have to be that legislation. The new business legislation has to be amended in order to have the Tax Commission's fixed costs in there. That was my question.
I'll go see Chair Henio. Back to Legislative Council. There was a request made. You got the floor.
I believe if I have the question correct, the question is whether we need to amend this particular legislation 0145 to add fixed costs. Is that the question? If that's the committee's intent, we would need to do an amendment. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Same to Chair Henio. Does that suffice your concern?
Ms. Barboff, is Ms. Barboff on the line?
She's not on the line. I can.
Please get Ms. Barboff on the line, Vice Chair Smith.
She is on the line.
Please do not interrupt me, please. Vice Chair, can you control the meeting?
Yes, Chair Henio. Committee members, not committee members, but those that are online here, be respectful. Go ahead, Chair Henio. You have the floor.
Yes, Vice Chair, if you would request for Ms. Barboff to come on the line. Thank you.
She is.
Yes, Ms. Barbara, are you on the line?
Yes, I've been trying to say I was on the line. Thank you.
You have the floor.
Thank you. I understand the question. I don't think Mr. Paye is. What I understand is that Chairman Hino is just requesting Legislative Council to prepare an amendment for the next legislation to include the tax commission as fixed costs. And yes, we can do that if I have the question correct.
Back to Chair Henny. Okay, thank you. Legislative Council.
Thank you, Vice Chair Smith. Thank you, Ms. Barboff. That is exactly what we would need. Therefore, we don't have to wait too long because the 10 o'clock is already coming up on us. That's why.
Thank you. We will get on that right away.
Gushing, thank you very much. Committee members, any other questions regarding the legislation 0145-21?
Vice Chair, this is Peggy. May I speak?
Yes, go ahead, Peggy. You have the floor.
Okay, it's more of a administrative function, is just to remind the program to look at their budget forms that they emailed out. The pages are numbered. Up in the corner, the right-hand corner, it just says 1 of 1. And throughout the document, that needs to be fixed. It's just a minor thing. It doesn't impact the budget at all, just the detailed forms for both the detailed for the business unit 106001, and then also for the revised for fixed cost. That is a new business unit. Just a comment before for them to take it to OMB correctly.
Gushin Shada, thank you for that information. Those that will be presenting this morning, would you please take heed of that? Committee members, any other questions?
Vice Chairman, Honorable Smith, this is Delegate Yellow here.
Shache, Delegate Yellow here, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Okay, Peggy, I was going to question that one, the budget forms that need to be probably revised or however it needs to be done so reflect to the budget for this amendment. That was my, I was going to ask for it, but I'm clear. Maybe my brother, Chairman, needs to explain that. Otherwise, if everything's okay. That's my questions, Vice Chairman. Go ahead.
Honorable Yellow Hair. Back to sponsor of this legislation, Chair Henyo. You have the floor.
Thank you for that. We could provide explanation to my agent, Mr. Marty Ashley. Mr.
Vice
Marty
Chair.
Ashley, are you on the line?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Vice Chair and members of the Budget and Finance Committee. I believe our original budget that we submitted, those pages were correct. As we went along and started making all these changes, we failed to make those corrections, but we will make those corrections on the pages. I believe there's 6 pages altogether. So the very first one will change to one of 6 and so forth. We'll make those appropriate changes. Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee.
Well, thank you, Mr. Marty Ashley, for that. Those changes will be conducted soon as possible. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I have my staff making those changes as we're discussing.
Thank you for that. Committee members, any other further questions on regards to the legislation? Back to sponsor, Chair Henio. Is this all in order? Are we ready to vote for the question here? We got a main motion by Honorable Yellowhair, Honorable Karate, and also Honorable Yellowhair's second. Was everything in order?
Vice Chair Smith, I believe we are in order. And if there's no more questions from the committee, I am confident we can proceed to vote.
Okay, just making sure that we're not leaving any thing out that's imperative on this legislation. Committee members, is there any questions regarding this before we call for the main question on this budget here, 0145-21, legislation rather? Thank you. Shanella, could you call for the question? Roll call vote.
Sure, another roll call vote for legislation number 0145-21. Honorable Jamie Henry, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Jamie Henry votes green. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair, how do you vote?
I vote green. Okay.
Thank you. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair votes green. Honorable Amber Kenneth Bakati, how do you vote?
Shadow Delegate Amber Kenneth Bakati, and I vote green. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Amber Kenneth Bakati votes green. Honorable Elmer P. Begay, how do you vote?
I vote green.
Thank you. Honorable Elmer P. Begay votes green. Honorable Nathaniel Brown, how do you vote?
Delegate Brown votes green.
Thank you. Honorable Nathaniel Brown votes green. Vice Chairman, we have 5 members voting in the affirmative, 0 opposing. Vice Chairman not voting. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Shanella. We have a legislation passed for old business 0145-21 with a vote 501. And for the record, we have Honorable Elmer Begay and also Honorable Brown. Could you give us your location for the record?
No. Just kidding. Yeah, I'm in Benahoto, Navajo Nation. Yeah.
Honorable Brown. Honorable Begay, location?
Burnside.
Gushi, thank you. Did you get that, Shanella?
Thank you, Honorable Nathaniel Brown and Honorable Elmer P. Begay. Yes, I did. Thank you, Vice Chairman.
Committee members for all being present on the continuation of oversight budget hearing. We have completed old business. Moving on to number 5, new business. Legislation number 0162-21. Shada, could you read that into the record?
Yes, Vice Chair. The legislation was emailed to you around 9:00 a.m. So this is a proposed standing committee resolution. Budget and Finance Committee has final authority. 24th Navajo Nation Council, 3rd year 2021, introduced by Jamie Hinio and Seth A. Damon. Council delegates. Tracking number 0162-21, an action relating to the Budget and Finance Committee approving and recommending to the Budget and Finance Committee fiscal year 2022 budgets for fixed costs for the Division of General Services, Radio Communications and Facilities Maintenance for the Navajo Nation Integrated Justice Information Sharing Project and for the Office of the Controller, FMIS Maintenance. Be it enacted, Section 1 Authority. A, the Budget and Finance Committee is the standing committee of the Navajo Nation Council. 2 and C, Section 300A. B, each oversight committee shall review and make recommendations to the Budget and Finance Committee concerning the budget in accordance with the annual budget instructions 12 and C, Section 840A. C, the Budget and Finance Committee has oversight of the fixed costs for certain Navajo Nation programs 12 and C, Section 301B2. Section 2 findings. A, the Budget and Finance Committee held a hearing and took relevant testimony regarding fixed cost budgets for fiscal year 2022 for the Office of the Controller, the Division of General Services, the Division of Human Resources, the Department of Justice, and the Judicial Branch. 12 NNC Section 840A. This hearing resulted in the committee adopting and approving legislation number 0148-21 on August 10, 2021. B, this legislation augments legislation number 0148-21 by adding revised fixed cost budgets for the Division of General Services, Radio Communications, and Facilities Maintenance, for the Navajo Nation Integrated Justice Information Sharing Project, and for the Office of the Controller, FMIS Maintenance. C, the Budget and Finance Committee recommends fiscal year 2022 fixed cost.
Yes,
or fixed costs for the Division of General Services, Radio Communications, and Facilities Maintenance for the Navajo Nation Integrated Justice Information Sharing Project, and for the Office of the Controller. FMIS maintenance as shown in the attached exhibits A through E. 12 NNC Section 840A. Section 3, approving and recommending the proposed fiscal year 2022 budgets for fixed costs for the Division of General Services, Radio Communications, and Facilities Maintenance for the Navajo Nation Integrated Justice Information Sharing Project, and for the Office of the Controller, FMIS Maintenance. A, the Budget and Finance Committee hereby recommends the proposed Navajo Nation fiscal year 2022 budgets for fixed costs for the Division of General Services, Radio Communications, and Facilities Maintenance for the Navajo Nation Integrated Justice Information Sharing Project, and for the Office of the Controller, FMIS Maintenance, as provided on the fund type budget summary attached as Exhibit A. B, the Budget and Finance Committee requests the identified changes to the budget as set forth in the General Fund Comparative Summary, Exhibit B, recommended changes to the General Fund Budget, Exhibit C, recommended conditions of appropriation and legislative concerns, Exhibit D, and recommended unmet needs, Exhibit E, be incorporated into the Navajo Nation Comprehensive Budget. So thereafter you have the exhibit forms for Exhibit A, and the totals for Exhibit A is $5,132,036. Exhibit B has a branch chief's recommended is $2,605,039. And so it is minus $2,605,039. Exhibit C is blank. On the recommended changes to the general fund budget, Exhibit D is the recommended conditions of appropriation. Exhibit E is the unmet needs budget, and there is a 0. Legislative Council's memo, the Internet Public Review had no comments. Mr. Vice Chair.
Takushi, thank you. Shada, motion?
Delegate Brown, motion.
Honorable Brown, motions. Second?
Yellow hair.
Second by Honorable Yellow Hair. Committee member questions on this legislation?
Pro Tem, this is Delegate Cardi. If we could get an update and a summary, thank you. Or I'm sorry, is this just to recall?
No, this is a legislation new business 0162-21. I will turn the floor over to Chair Henio, sponsor.
Actually, Vice Chair Smith, Budget and Finance Committee, We do have legislation 162-21 before the committee here, and this is a new legislation approving the cost budget for FY 2022 for the Division of General Services, Radio Communication, Facility Maintenance, and then for the Navajo Nation Judicial Branch, the Integrated Systems Information Sharing Project, and lastly, the Office of the Controller, FMIS maintenance. So in that order, I'll have presenters that are all present and my agents provide their presentation to the committee. So with this, I'll begin with General Services, Radio Communications, and after Radio Communications, we'll go to Facility Maintenance. And then after that, we'll go to the Navajo Nation Judicial Branch. And then lastly will be the Controller, Office of the Navajo Nation Controller. So in that order, Vice Chair Smith, I'll call upon my agents to provide their presentation. So Navajo Nation Division of General Services, Radio Communications.
Hakushi, Chair Henio, go ahead and call your agents as an order that you had requested. You have the floor.
Thank you. Division of General Services, Radio Communications. I did hear somebody from that program. You have the floor.
Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, this is Tom with General Services.
Yes, General Services, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee. I have with us in our conference room Loretta Largo, Deputy Division Director. We also have Mr. Herman Begay with Facilities, Kayla Wilson with Facilities. On the call, we have Marcus Tooley with Facilities and Pearl Lee with Navajo Nation Telecommunications and Utilities. Going to the first budget, business unit number 1180.
Excuse me, before we proceed, I think we were in a hearing. So, Peggy, do we have everybody that was just mentioned? Have they taken the oath?
Good. No, Mr. Vice Chair, I don't believe Herman Begay and Marcus Tooley and also Pearl Lee have taken the oath, and the other individual that was named. All stand and raise your right hand and raise your right hand, and then do you state your name for the record, please?
Pearl Lee.
Kayla Wilson.
Marcus.
Herman Begay.
You swear to tell the truth in the testimony you're about to give?
Yes.
Yes. Peggy, for the record, I heard several names, but they were all walking over each other. I've got Herman Begay, Pearl Lee, and also Marcus Tooley. Is that correct?
Yes, and someone by the name of Carol.
Carol, could you state your name so that we can have it on the record?
Mr. Vice Chair, her name is Kayla Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. Kayla Wilson.
Thank you. My apology.
Goshen, the oath has been administered, I guess you could say. Let's move on back to the President Presenter. You may proceed.
Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee, business unit number 118008, fixed cost radio communications, division branch general services executive, part 2, funding sources, general fund, 112,770, 23% indirect cost recovery, 373,418, 77% for a total of $486,188 at 100%. Under part 3, 400 or 4,000 supplies. Fund type is 1. Original budget 211,200. Proposed budget is 0 for a negative of 211,200. 5,500. Communications and Utilities Fund Type 1. Original budget 135,463. Proposed budget 150,238 for an increase of 14,775. 6500 Contractual Services Fund Type 1. Original budget 186,000. Proposed budget 331,200 for an increase of 145,200. Under 7,000 Special Transaction Fund Type 1. Original budget 4,750. Proposed budget 4,750. The difference is 0. On totals, original budget 537,413. Proposed budget 486,188 for a difference or a decrease of $51,225. Part 4, Positions and Vehicles. Total number of positions budgeted is 00. Number of vehicles budgeted is 00. We now move on to Budget Form 2. Business Unit number 118008, Fixed Costs, Radio Communications 1, to document and account for all existing RF network sites and GIS software. Complete RF network design documentation. First quarter 25%, second quarter 50%, third quarter 75%, fourth quarter 100%. 2, to increase two-way radio coverage. Number of radio frequency sites added. First quarter 1, second quarter 1, third quarter 1, fourth quarter 1. 3, to maintain FCC license. Number of licenses added or modified. Quarter 1, 1, quarter 2, 1, quarter 3, 1, quarter 4, 1. And then you have attached Budget Form 4, page 3 of 3, which has 5,500 Communications and Utilities, 150,238, 6910 other contractual services, 331,200, 7110 programs filing fees, 4,750. Mr. Vice Chair, members of the committee, we do have Ms. Pearl Lee available on the line. She is the program manager for this department. Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, sir. Information. Pearl Lee, ready to provide the information.
Mr. Vice Chair, this is Peggy. You were breaking up while you were speaking.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Back to sponsor. Is that it?
I believe there's still more presentations. Mr. Plateros is coming on the stage.
Yes, thank you. I'm having a little problems with my communications over here. Hear background noise and I'm just going, not communicating properly here. Next on the list, go ahead. You have the floor.
Mr. Vice Chair, did you want us to do facility maintenance too, or did you want to go in the order of Exhibit A, Mr. Vice Chair?
Let's go into the facility maintenance.
Okay, Mr. Vice Chair. Business Unit number 118023, Facilities Maintenance, Division, Branch, General Services, Executive, Part 2, Funding Sources, Fixed Costs, $901,070, 37%. Indirect costs recovery, $1,525,970, 63%, for a total of $2,427,040 at 100%. Part 3, budget summary. Underneath 3,000 travel expenses. Fund type is 1. Original budget 362,424. Proposed budget is 0. Difference not listed. 4,000 supplies, The fund type is 1. Original budget is 64,926. Proposed budget is 0. Difference is not calculated. 5,000. Lease and rental. Fund type is 1. Original budget is 5,000. Proposed budget is 0. Difference is not listed. 6,000. Repairs and maintenance 1. 1,507,000. Original budget 948. Proposed budget $1,045,010. 6,500 contractual services. Fund type 1. Original budget of 50,000. Proposed budget 1,382,030 for a difference of 1,332,030. Special transaction fund type 1. Original budget 10,075. Proposed budget is 0. Difference is not calculated. Total 2,373,000. Proposed budget 2,427,040 for a difference of 426,667. Number of positions budget is 0 and 0. Number of vehicles budget is 24, and proposed budget is 0. We now move on to budget form 2. Business unit number 118023, facilities maintenance 1, goal statement. Complete major maintenance and repair projects across the Navajo Nation. Complete major maintenance and repair projects across the Navajo Nation. A, complete 4 roofing per quarter, first quarter 4, second quarter 4, third quarter 4, fourth quarter 4. B, replace 2 HVAC per quarter, first quarter 3, second quarter 3, third quarter 3, fourth quarter 3. C, replace 2 ADA ramp, sidewalks, and driveways per quarter, first quarter 2, second quarter 2, third quarter 2, fourth quarter 2. 2, complete pest control services, 2 pest control service per quarter, first quarter 2, second quarter 2, third quarter 2, fourth quarter 2. 3, conduct minor renovations, assessment of Navajo Nation government facilities, complete 2 minor facility renovations per quarter, first quarter 2, second quarter 2, third quarter 2, fourth quarter 2. 4, purchase, repair, and maintenance items, purchase 50,000 per quarter, first quarter 50,000, second quarter 50,000, third quarter 50,000, fourth quarter 50,000. 5, identify and complete building deficiencies per building assessment, complete 1 per quarter, first quarter 1, first quarter 2, second quarter, first quarter 1, second quarter 1, third quarter 1, fourth quarter 1. We now move on to budget form 3, page 3 of 4. You have 3130 services, $755,010. 6,200 external contractors to 290,000 for a total of $1,045,010. We now move on to budget form 4, page 4 of 4. 6,500 consulting fees to conduct and secure and monitor professional contractual service such as labor, flat tires, asbestos, and mold test abatement for services rendered under our department for the Navajo Nation government building listed under our department services listing, $1,372,030. 6830 other technical services, $10,000 for a total of $1,382,030. Mr. Vice Chair.
Agushi, thank you, Terrell. Thank you for that. We may proceed to the next presenter.
Ashwaditsa, committee members.
I can hear you.
Yes, Vice Chair.
Okay, we can proceed to the next presenter.
Vice Chair, with that.
I believe we lost general services.
Which one?
Back to Chair Henio. Who do we have next in line? You have the floor.
Does that conclude general services?
Mr. Vice Chair, yes, that does.
Okay. We'll move to Navajo Nation Judicial Branch for their Integrated Justice Information Sharing Project. Thank you, Chair Henny. Navajo Nation Integrated Justice Information Sharing Project, you may have the floor.
Thank you, Chair Pro Tem, Vice Chair Smith, auto sponsor, Chairman, Delegate Jamie Henio. Appreciate the opportunity to speak on behalf of the NIGIS project and all of the partners that are part of this ongoing effort to provide enhanced court services and court-related program services for our entire Navajo Nation judicial system. This is the Navajo Nation Integrated Justice Information Sharing Project budget from the fixed cost budget of the Navajo Nation for business unit 118019. Reading from the program budget summary page, part 1, that's the business unit. Part 2, the funding source for NIGIS is the fixed cost budget, and the amount that we're allocated this year was $375,000. That's 100% of our funding source. Moving to part 3, by the line items. For personnel expenses, there were no approved personnel expenses last year, and there are $0 proposed in this budget for 2022. For travel expenses, last year there was an approved amount of $15,200, and moving into FY 2022, there are no travel dollars. There's a zero amount for a difference of $15,200. For meeting expenses, line item 3,500, the fund type code is 1, and last year's approved original budget, there were no meeting expenses. This year's proposed budget for FY 2022, again, $0, no change. For line item 4,000, supplies, fund type code 1, the original approved budget for FY 2021 had $34,880. Proposing for FY 2022 is $0. Again, a difference of $34,880. The line item 5,000 for lease and rental, fund type code 1. The FY 21 approved original budget had $500 in that line item. The proposed budget moving forward for FY 2022 requests $650, an increase of $150. For line item 5,500, communications and utilities, fund type code 1, the Navajo Nation approved original budget for 2021 had $174,000. The proposed budget for FY 2022 has a requested amount of $155,004, a difference of $18,996. For line item 6,000 under repairs and maintenance, fund type code 1, we have the approved budget for FY 2021 at $133,020. The proposed budget for FY 2022 requests $201,946, requesting an increase of $68,926. For line item 6,500, contractual services, fund type code 1, this year's approved budget has $0 in it. The proposed budget for 2022 has $0, no difference. For line item 7,000, special transactions, fund type code 1, the approved budget for FY 2021 has an amount of $17,400. The proposed budget we request for 2022 has $17,400. There's no change, no difference in the year to year. The total amount at the bottom, the approved budget for 2021 is $375,000. The requests that we're submitting for FY 2022 is the same amount, $375,000, so no difference. There are no positions budgeted in this business unit for this year. There are no positions proposed for next year. There are no vehicles involved in this business unit, and likewise for FY22, there are no vehicles. Moving on to Form 2, the goal statements. At the heart of the NIGIS program is the case management system that is utilized for the entire judicial system, and this includes the judicial branch and the prosecutor's office, public defenders, and what we call the other NIGIS partners, Division of Social Services, DIT, Information Technology, our probation program and peacemaking program, as well as all the courts. In order to be able to use our JustWare system, oftentimes training is necessary, and we put a small amount of dollars into this business unit to support training for all of the NIGIS partners. And the first goal is to have to train JustWare users. First quarter, at least to have one training session. Second quarter, to have at least one training session. Third quarter, to at least have one training session. Fourth quarter, to have at least one training session. Goal statement 2. For the NIGIS partners, we have regular scheduled meetings and work sessions, and the goal is to have at least one work session per quarter for our NIGIS partners to continue reviewing the necessary issues that need to be addressed, to continue to facilitate good information sharing and to work out any issues amongst the NIGIS partners, and to continue to look at how to improve our integrated criminal justice system. So the goal statement is to have at least one work session per quarter. First quarter, one work session. Second quarter, one work session. Third quarter, one work session. Fourth quarter, one work session. Goal statement 3, again, this JustWare case management system is essentially a large database of all court and court-related program information. So we continue to address the issues of access and connectivity to this database from all parties, NIGIS partners, and other interested parties that need to access court information and court-related program information. So we're always looking to improve connectivity and improve these computer and internet-based access points. So our goal statement is to improve network connectivity and improve the application development. We look for conducting maintenance and upgrades and support for our NIGIS partners, 2 for the first quarter, 2 for the second quarter, 2 for the third quarter, and 2 for the fourth quarter. The fourth goal statement, the database serves not only our internal NIGIS partners, but also provides access to clients and people who are involved in our justice system. And we continue to look to improve and make it accessible, make our court information accessible to those parties that need that access. And so the goal statement is to improve customer services through e-technology by developing web-based access to the courts. And we want to basically make these improvements in the areas of allowing for electronic payments, for the scheduling of court events, and the ability to retrieve notices. And for the first quarter, we have the goal of having at least accomplished one of those events. Second quarter, the goal of one improvement. The third quarter goal, again, is at least one improvement. And fourth quarter goal, again, at least one improvement. The fifth goal statement refers to the need to continue to review and update and develop any necessary usage policies or to clarify our current set of policies. These often come up in discussions amongst the NIGIS partners and can be put on the agenda during our work sessions. So the goal statement relates to addressing our policies at least once a quarter in the first quarter, once in the second quarter, and then another time, one more time in the third quarter, and one time in the fourth quarter. Those are our performance criteria. Moving on to page 3 of 3 in the budget form, the details. The details show the support that this budget provides not only to the judicial branch and to the need to maintain our case management system, but also the necessary expenses that are provided to NIGIS partners to continue their access and their ability to use the case management system and to continue to develop the necessary efficiencies in this integrated criminal justice system that we have. These services and these expenses are provided to the Office of the Prosecutor, the Office of the Public Defender, Division of Social Services, Family Services Department. To oftentimes we work in concert with the Department of Informational Technology inside the Division of General Services on projects that continue to address the needs of the core informational systems that our JustWare case management system relies on, that correlate with the work that DIT does overall for the Navajo Nation for information technology services. At the core, looking at the internet services fees and expenses, those are directed to assist the individual courts, district courts, so that they can have access to the internet. Each court, it's vital for the courts to have internet access, and so that enables them to continue to access the case management system, to input data, and to provide the necessary information that all the NIGIS partners then rely upon as they access this court information and use the information to manage their cases from their own individual perspectives. These internet expenses, again, are to assist with the support for this database, which essentially comes down to the inputting of each individual case as cases are filed with our Navajo Nation court system. The next line item for the 6,000 repair and maintenance, the details show that the main expense of this business unit has to do with supporting JustWare, which is the name of our case management system. And we've been developing this particular case management system for over 10 years now. And we've worked with a vendor to develop it, and we continue to make necessary changes and alterations. We've customized this to a large degree to fit the unique needs of the Navajo Nation court system. And we basically use this part of the budget to continue the technical support necessary when it's needed. But we are also looking at other components that add to the efficiencies and accessing information and sharing information from within the case management system. The database that this case management system relies upon is also useful, and it has become very important because the nation's judicial system is a court of records. And all of these entries into the database become records that we have the responsibility to then retain, and also to help us provide archives for older records. Just to note that in this current pandemic, we've had increasing number of requests from our public to access old court information, sometimes even divorce records from 20 years ago, because of their name changes requests, or just to clarify relationship statuses. So the ability to rely on our case management system to retrieve records when requests are made is also a very critical aspect of this case management system. And also, again, we are a court of records. We have a critical appellate component in our Supreme Court. And so the retention of records and the ability to have consistent and accurate records of all court proceedings and court events, all contained in one system, is very vital. And so we have other expenses that are also proposed so that we can continue to make advances in sharing information. There is one line item for what's called an application programming interface. The acronym for that is API. Application program interfaces allow for different applications to share information, even though they're not the same program design or application design. It creates a bridge between two different types of applications. In this instance, we're developing a bridge between the CODI system that is used by the Division of Public Safety and the Justware system, which houses all the court information. And we've been developing this, working on this for the past couple of years to try and get more flow of information and efficiencies going between public safety, their information management system, and the Justware case management system. So we're also working not only with Division of Public Safety on this, but we're getting assistance from the Department of Information Technology in General Services Division. So we continue to work on those types of internal developments and improvements to make information sharing improvements for all of the NIJIS partners. And then all of those improvements are reflected back out to all the clients and end users of people who enter our judicial system and end up having a case file and their ability to access their own information. The last item in the proposed budget is for the training. I mentioned earlier in our performance criteria that the NIJIS partners continue to need training support for specific to Justware, specific to the case system management system and its ongoing development and its ongoing evolution. And so this small amount of training is designed to help support those NIJIS partners who have some training in their home budgets, but not enough specific to help support any Justware training expenses that would come up in the next fiscal year. So the judicial branch has been designated by all the NIJIS partners to be the steward for this budget. And so this business unit is not a judicial branch only budget. It is a budget that we manage and administer and provide support to all of these partners in the Navajo Nation's integrated judicial system. That's the prosecutor's office, public defender, Division of Social Services, Family Services Department, working with DIT. We often provide them some resources from time to time, specific to helping us with our Justware system and all of the servers that are in at the core of this huge database system that we continue to manage. And I know that questions have come up about its applicability and the fixed cost, and I just want to say that we've provided some information to Peggy to share with you. There's been some long-standing resolutions passed in the 90s and the 2000s.
Mr. City, this is Mr. Smith. Yes, due to time constraints, could you wrap this up real quick? Because we got two others that have to present, FMIS and also tax, and we got amendments, and we got a meeting at 10 o'clock. So could you wrap this up? Thank you.
I'm wrapping up. I supplied information for the committee's advisor to share with the members, which provides additional background. It's my contention that this particular business unit, while it might not fit exactly within the fixed cost budget, it is a commitment that the nation made years ago, and it's been something that we've been working on for decades now. And as OMB has reported, oftentimes such commitments for these types of expenses are placed in the fixed cost budget. And the one thing that I can say about this business unit is that at the core, it's all about this case management system and the need to have this case management system supported year in, year out. And so I appreciate your attention, and if you can take a look at those documents, we'd be happy to answer any more questions if there's any more concerns about how this particular business unit rests within the fixed cost budget of the Navajo Nation. Thank you, Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. City. Moving on quickly, let's get to the point on behalf of our presentation. I think we have tax, and then we have FMIS tax.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Vice Chair. Are we with the FMIS fixed cost maintenance? This is Elizabeth Begay from the Controller's Office.
Yes, good morning, Elizabeth Begay. You have the floor with the FMIS. Go ahead.
Thank you. So we're presenting our fixed cost budget for the FMIS maintenance. We're requesting a budget of $1,808,556.24 for FY22. General funds is $1,180,947.24. That's on budget form 1. Indirect costs $627,609. And for part 3 of the budget summary, supplies is 0, lease and rental is $48,750, communication and utilities $60,331, repairs and maintenance $865,011, contractual services $834,464, for a total of $1,808,556.24. And there's no proposed vehicle. For budget form 2, we listed our performance objectives for this budget. The first objective is to timely pay our annual maintenance fees for the FMIS. That's the Navajo Nation accounting system. The second objective is to make timely payments of miscellaneous software support. Third objective, to continue the disaster recovery site maintenance and implementation. Fourth objective is to update our hardware inventory on a quarterly basis. And the last performance goal is to update our software inventory on a quarterly basis. For budget form 4 on page 3, detailed explanation of our budget for the lease and rental line item. It's for the building space rental for our disaster recovery site. And for communication and utilities, that's the internet expense, because DIT does not allow us to use their service because of the traffic overload for the FMIS. And the other detailed object code for the lease and rental is the wireless communication. For the next page, page 4 of budget form 4, repairs and maintenance, we listed all the technology, software, and support, and the annual fees for all those licenses that we need to maintain the FMIS. And the other last item is the technology support for the software, which is the FMIS Oracle upgrade. For the last item is on page 6, the contractual services, that's for consulting. And the objective on that is to provide consulting services for disaster recovery site. And all support and customization must be Oracle certified to work with the JD Edwards software. And for contractual services, that totaled to $834,464. That concludes our budget for the FMIS maintenance that is funded under fixed costs. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Controller, Acting Controller, Ms. Elizabeth Gay. Back to the sponsor of the legislation. You have the floor.
Thank you, Vice Chair Smith, for this opportunity. And we have less than 10 minutes, 9 minutes left. I wish the programs would have been to the point instead of going on. And question, Vice Chair Smith, if 10 o'clock is our Budget and Finance Committee meeting, if we go over that, this legislation doesn't go forward, what's the options that we have? I yield back to the committee.
Thank you for that, Chair Henio. Legislative Council, could we do a recess and then come back since we're still in the budget hearing? Or what is the options? We have a Budget and Finance hearing at 10 a.m. and we're pressing for time right now because there's going to be some amendments and there will be some questions on behalf of the legislation here. Legislative Council, you have the floor.
Thank you. This is Dana. I'm going to answer that question for Legislative Council. Yes, I think you can go into a recess to allow Office of Legislative Counsel and others to develop the appropriate forms and documents, and your recess can resume after, or the recess can resume after your next meeting. Thank you, Vice Chair and Chair.
Thank you for that clarification, Chief Legislative Counsel, Ms. Dana Barbara. Committee members, we can go into recess. before the budget hearing regular meeting scheduled today at 10 a.m. Back to the sponsor of the legislation, Chair Henio.
Thank you for that. We do have our regular committee meeting starting at 10, so I'll follow your lead, Vice Chair, on the recess. And but to what time, though? That's the question of the day.
Thank you, Chair Henio. Committee members, we could go into recess at this point in time and switch gears and then start the budget hearing at 10. We could entertain that, and then after the budget regular scheduled meeting, come back and revisit our commence with our hearing. Thank you. I don't hear no opposition. Chair Henio, since you're the sponsor of this, I'd like to call this as a recess at 9:54 a.m. and come back after the regular meeting scheduled at 10 a.m. So we can switch gears and get ready for the proposed budget finance committee for today at 10. I'll call this as a recess after the meeting has convened or adjourned for today. Shananda.
Kashina, thank you, Vice Chair.
Recessed at 09:55 a.m. We will reconvene after the regular scheduled meeting for budget finance. So we can switch gears here. Thank you, committee members, and thank you for staff. We'll be back on after the meeting.